Welcome and welcome back, my dear Tarot Pals. If you've just found me through an algorithm search, I welcome you to our Tarot Pal community. I post 2 to 3 videos every week, and if you'd like daily guidance, there is an Instagram channel of Tarot Pal. You will find the link in the description below. There's also a giveaway which I'm running right now for a month. I invite you to participate. I invite you to join me on my Instagram account as well. Again, a big thank you to our Tarot Pals who've been a part of this journey. Thank you for your lovely comments, your engagement, your like. Thank you so much for supporting me throughout this past year. Today we're going to look at a very special reading requested by one of our Tarot Pals, Sonal. So hi Sonal, shout out to you if you're listening to this. And while of course her topic question had multiple layers of question, I've kind of clubbed it together. And today we're going to look at who you really are by breaking down your self into different parts of who you are, right? So the first part we're going to look at is what your inner child is like, who your inner child is. Thereby we're going to move towards what your shadow self is. Then we're going to move towards what your ego self is, and finally conclude this reading with your higher self. Just to give a brief summary, while this is nowhere a definition, but a reference point for those of you who are absolutely unaware about what each of these terms mean, your inner child is the self which you are before the conditioning of this world told you what is good versus what is bad. You know, the absolute pure essence of yourself when you came into this world, what your you know, as the face says, your child, your childlikeness is like, right? The part which gets typically shamed or numbed out or never really expressed or gets wounds at a very young age. So that's your inner child self that we're going to look at. Thereby we're going to move towards your shadow self. Now this is the part of you which many of us often feel like as if it's your negative side, but I want you to give you that clarity. It is not your negative side. It is the traits in you which in fact many times keep you safe, protect you, help you win in situations where there is actual danger at play. So your shadow self is a part of you which you're, while at different levels of awareness, you may be aware that these traits are in you. A part of you perhaps feels shamed. A part of you wants to do away with that side of you. So some parts of you which are either hidden from you and you're absolutely oblivious that, oh, this is also me, or the parts of you which are so shamed that you just want to do away with them and you are in denial with them, wherein all that your shadow self needs in reality is just embracement and acceptance, okay? Thereby moving on to the third part, which is your ego self, what you think you are like. This of course could be an offset of what your social conditioning has been, what other people tell you you're like, how others narrate you to be like, or what your ego self believes itself to be showing up as, okay? And finally, of course, what is your potential? What is your higher self? What is the higher calling? And who you can perhaps be. I hope that helps you understand what we're going to cover today, as in the format of the reading. We're going to use extensively tarot and hardly any oracles today. So this is going to be a pure play tarot based reading. Again, there's a playlist which is called Timeless Readings. You'll find the description box, link in the description box below. I strongly recommend all of you to go watch those readings if you have missed them out. I feel there's a lot of resonance and guidance in it, and we've got really good feedback. So don't miss out on it. And before we proceed, first of all, I want to take a minute, pause. Are you listening? Do I have your attention? Could you please hit that subscribe button if you yet have not subscribed to Tarot Pal? Now that we've done that, thank you again. Let me go ahead and pull out. I've already shuffled and, put the cards out. So we're going to take out 3 different cards to make a pile for each of you, and we'll proceed from there, okay? So who you really are for pile number 1. Let's look at it. Okay, I'm going to go with this. For pile number 2, let's pull this one. And for pile number 3, I'm going to go with this. Okay, we have our 3 cards. Give me a minute. I'm going to place some crystals before we reveal the cards. So, for option number 1, your option is, and I'm sorry if the lighting is a little off today, I don't have electricity right now, and I didn't want to wait anymore to shoot, so I don't have my entire lighting setup on. I'm gonna give it a minute. Okay, this is option 1, Amethyst, and I'm gonna leave this here. For option number 2, we're gonna give you a little piece of Rhodonite, so that's option number 2. Okay, and for pile number 3, I'm gonna go with this beautiful piece of clear quartz. Okay, those are your three crystal options. Let's set them up, and now I'm going to reveal the 3 cards for you. You may of course feel drawn to more than one pile. It's a general reading. Not every message in every pile is going to be for you. Take what resonates, leave the rest. Trust your intuition with these things. Okay, so the first card is the Crumbling. That's the artwork for you. The Crumbling is option number 1. I love the beautiful scenery right there. Okay. For option number 2, we have the Inner Temple. Okay, that's option number 2. And for pile number 3, we have Limeira, creating heaven on earth, is the caption that says. Beautiful cards, all 3 cards. This is your work, your light oracle. For some of you who like to know which deck is it. You can pause the video, take a little while to make your selection, and I'm going to see you in your pile. Hello and welcome to those of you who picked this beautiful piece of citrine, a wonderful crown chakra, third eye chakra stone, a wonderful stone for developing psychic abilities, for fighting any kind of an addiction that you're unable to let go of. It's a wonderful crystal that helps you get into alignment to your higher self. If you've skipped the introduction, I again want to tell you that there's an Instagram account of Taropal, link in the description below. There's a giveaway contest I'm running until the 23rd or the 24th of May. Don't forget to participate. There is daily tarot guidance posted on the Instagram account, so I do invite you to join me there as well. What we're going to do today again is look at your inner child, your shadow self, your ego self, and your higher self to come into conclusion, to give you a 360-degree view as to who you really are, okay, and where, of course, your potential is. So we're going to place this card of yours here, and we'll of course include this in your reading. First, I'm going to move towards your inner child, okay? So for pile number 1, Spirit, the inner child of pile number 1. Okay, a very specific message. There's a reading I've done some time ago, about 2-3 months ago, called 2 years from now. Messages for you 2 years from now. You'll find that in the Timeless Readings playlist. I think this pile needs to go watch that message, okay? Watch that reading. There's something for you there. Okay, very specific message for pile number 1. Okay. Inner child. What's the inner child like? Who is the inner child of pile number 1? Thank you, Spirit. The inner child of pile number 1. We have 2 cards. So the first one is Ace of Swords. Okay. The second card is the Emperor. Such a powerful inner child energy. Okay. And we have, I want to go with this one, 6 of Swords. The 3 of Wands. Okay, I'm not taking these, but I'll see what this were. 4 of Pentacles and 10 of, okay, and the Wheel of Fortune. Okay, let's look at your inner child. In fact, I'm going to bring in your shadow self with this because I really want to do those together. I think that linkage will make more sense when we look at inner child and shadow self together, okay? So I'm going to use the Nostradamus deck for your shadow self. Pile number 1, shadow self for pile number 1. Thank you, Spirit. Shadow self for pile number 1. Okay, shadow self of pile number 1. Okay, we have one card that's flipped. I want to take that, but I'm not going to take the rest. Let me pick up the extra cards here. We have Death, which was your first card. We have the 9 of Pentacles. We have 7 of Pentacles. I like how it showed up under the Emperor. Okay. One last card for your, oops, sorry. Okay, this is better. Your shadow self for pile number 1. Thank you, Spirit. Pile number 1, shadow self. Okay, that's it. Let's start looking at who we are reading for. 10 of Cups. Okay. This is a child. So let's talk about your inner child first, okay? So when I'm saying this is a child, just know that I'm talking about your inner child. And when I'm talking about shadow self, I'll just say the shadow, okay? Okay. Your inner child, and of course, remember your inner child is still there. It's not like you've grown up, so your inner child's gone, okay? The first and the most important thing that drives your inner child, or is the most strongest imprint of your inner child, is its curiosity. Your inner child came into this planet with a lot of questions. You know, it has a desire to learn, to grow, to create, to build. Emperor is the master builder. He builds an empire, right? What does an emperor build? He builds an empire. And this is an inner child who's had innate amount of curiosity to discover the globe, to travel. As a child, one of your first memories, one of your fondest memories is perhaps during a travel or to some place that you've visited before. If you hear me pausing the video, it's because I'm having tea. This is going to be a really long video if it isn't already obvious to you. So do grab your beverage if you haven't, okay? All right. You've always loved exploring new places, being outdoors, traveling, you know. You've had questions that has surprised your adults when you were really, really young as well, okay? So the first thing, the first message about and from your inner child is curiosity. This personality wants to know. This personality is, in Hindi, we call the world of, you know, jigyasa, which is exactly what is the direct translation of curiosity. But I feel like the resonance of jigyasa, ya jigyasu, if you understand Hindi, that is the phrase that we are aiming for here with this inner child personality. Always also an excited child when it comes to meeting new people. You know, you were not a loner kid who just didn't want to talk to people, who was very shy, who just hold the mummy's hand, you know, their mummy's hand or their father's hand and just, no, you were always excited to meet people. You always wanted to talk to people. You wanted to ask them more questions. You know, this is a talkative child. This is a child who has a lot of, again, questions, wants to meet new people, wants to eat new food, wants to explore new territory, yeah, and always ready. You know, this is a child, you tell them, you want to go for an ice cream? Yes, I'm ready. You want to go play football? Yes, I'm ready. Your usual answer to everything that anybody will ever ask this child was a yes. Yeah, they will be a yes. Yes, I'm on. This person was always ready. This person never doubts their immediate next decision. Very decisive, ready to go ahead. Often traveling short distance, perhaps your inner, you know, when your younger years, you had to travel short distance often, okay? And short distance could mean different things to different people. Some of you, you know, depending upon your geography and your country, it could be going from one state to another. For some others of you, it could be just, you know, traveling 16 miles. I mean, depends, right? It's a relative concept to us now in this model world, what short distance means. But yeah, you've traveled a lot. You had consistent. There's something to do with movement, or you may perhaps didn't have a one permanent house, and as a child you've moved a couple of houses, and you've never held a lot of resistance as an inner child towards these changes, towards what's next. In fact, you've pretty much had curiosity, clarity, decision-making ability. Okay, a very strong leader even as a child. Yeah, an ability to make decisions and speak things as they are. It's unfortunate that when I look at your shadow self, not a lot of you were perhaps, and I'm perhaps saying some of these things which you're like, that doesn't sound like me in my childhood, but it feels like as if it could have been me. If that's the feeling that you're feeling, that, you know, this is not, it's like, yeah, that's shades of me, but I never really expressed this side of me as a child. We'll come to your shadow self, okay? But this is a child who had a plan, who knew what they wanted, who knew where they how to get it. Somewhere, people told them they're asking for too much. Somewhere, the conditioning said, oh, you think you can get this in 2 years when your great-great-grandpa took 19 years to go there. There's a certain amount of self-doubt, discouragement that you unfortunately had to go through as a child. But when the child came into this planet, the child clearly knew what it wants to conquer. Very ambitious, competitive. This is also a competitive child. Your inner child does want to win, and there's nothing wrong in that. Please understand, your inner child emotions are not to be shamed. You've always had a desire to win. You always wanted to conquer more. You always wanted to get more. Okay, and somewhere there's been a shame around that ambition. It's almost like saying, people have told you, oh, you think you deserve that? Or you think you can get that? And that kept you, even if they didn't say it to you directly, you know, your surrounding or your environment was making that child question, oh, am I asking for too much? Am I sure, can I do this? But the child came in with a knowing of that they are going to be an emperor. Okay, at very young ages, you may have been also exposed to certain different cultures. And when I say different cultures, you don't actually have to physically travel, right? You may be watching a lot of, for example, I'm sure the generation right now watches a lot of Korean movies and shows, right? I mean, young kids are watching a lot of Korean K-pop and this and that. So somewhere in your growing up, you've been also exposed to different kinds of culture. Yeah, and that shaped your inner child's belief system. It has the ability to resonate with different kinds of culture. And again, curiosity drives you. A very strong Aries, Gemini quality here. Okay, there are strong placements in your chart in Aries and Gemini for those of you who's watching pile 1. Moving to your shadow self, okay? I can keep on talking about each line, but it's supposed to be a short video. So yeah, let's move on to your shadow self. When I look at your shadow, and of course this soul comes with a lot of karma, okay? Who's picked pile 1, you've done what do I mean by saying you've come with a lot of karma? You have a lot of deeds, unfinished tasks, and changes from who you used to be in your past life, which need to be accomplished in this and your future life, okay? Which is why there's a lot of transformation that your shadow self consistently goes through. There's a part of you which is just never sure. Am I X or am I Y? There's a consistent doubt inside, which is why your emperor-like quality perhaps never shows up for external people. Externally, you may come across like an absolutely different personality to many people because, and we'll get to that in your ego self, you're waiting to label yourself. For example, let's say introvert or extrovert, the most easiest one to kind of label ourselves typically, right? Am I an introvert? Am I an extrovert? Or am I an ambivert? A part of you keeps trying to associate yourself with one label and then feel like, okay, now I know who I am. But your shadow self is well aware, I am neither one thing. There's it's a spectrum, and the soul is in that spectrum of change. So some days you will resonate with being an extrovert. Some days you will be an absolute introvert. Some days you will be an ambivert. And somewhere, due to different reasons, this confuses you. Your personality confuses you. Its ability to consistently change, you don't see it as a blessing. You see it as a confusion. You're just hence never sure. Your shadow self is just never sure. You know, that lack of surety, which, look at the inner child. What did I say about the inner child? The inner child was bang on confident, bang on clear-headed, cuts through the crap and sees the truth as it is. Yet the shadow is so lost, is so confused. in this transformation, in this evolution, that instead of knowing how clear-headed you are, you're perhaps one of the most confused personalities. Can you understand the conversation we are having here right now, right? Because of self-doubt, because of unable to understand that you're not supposed to be one label, and it's absolutely fine. Now, this has led to excessive waiting. You're always waiting for someone, for something. You don't want to do, the Emperor takes accountability. I love how the Seven of Pentacles is shown right underneath it. If I don't do anything, I will not be responsible for any decision. So when the relationship goes sour, I don't go ahead and do the breakup. I will just keep sabotaging it in different ways so that the person breaks up. Or I will keep bearing this bad relationship for so long, make myself miserable, give this other person billion more chances, which they did not deserve. But I will not be the Emperor who will say, you know what, I'm done with you, get out. I'm going to just quietly sit and stay patient and keep on playing the games that they're playing, because then I don't have to take accountability or be responsible for, trigger warning guys, this is not going to be an easy reading, for what's happening in my life. So some people will say, and some of your lovers or some of your teachers have perhaps told you as a compliment, you're very patient. You give so many chances. You're such a giving person. Those kind of things. But there's a shadow side to this. Are you patient because you really believed in the potential of the other person? Or were you patient because taking an action would anyway not be your call? Because passive aggression was easier. Because letting somebody else call the shots was easier for you. Yeah? Because to make that hard call came at a heavy, heavy price. There's a challenge here with this shadow self of dependency. You've perhaps struggled a lot depending upon where you are. This is a different reading for this general reading. So different age group of people will be watching this. This pile, at least in one phase of life, will have tremendous issues with dependency and codependency. Because your shadow self is somewhere in this, our shadow self is basically someone which kind of sees danger and tries to protect ourselves at different situations. At the same time, sometimes it miscalculates our dangers as well, right? You would want things to be done your way. That's who you are. That's your inner child personality, right? You are the one who wants to run the ship in a certain way in their structure. Hence, independence, self-sufficiency, leadership comes naturally to the inner child. But due to the shadow self, which is in denial, which has not been worked upon, this pile needs to do shadow work, by the way. You paint a certain image for yourself and for other people sometimes that, I could or could not do this because I did or did not have this support from my family, my teacher, my lover, and hence my life is in a certain way. But you have the option to move on always. Your inner child always knows how to move on to the better place while you feeling dependent and stuck on someone else. Okay? Another part of your shadow self which is very, very evident is you're waiting for, this is that inner child's, they're ready, the ships are about to come in. You're trying to create, you're trying to think of, I'm sorry, sometimes I stumble because I'm trying to put words into the thoughts that I'm channeling, into the concepts that I'm channeling. A happy home is what, of course, your shadow self also seeks. But again, you're waiting for somebody else to create it for you. You're waiting for a partner to come in, then I will have a beautiful home. When my partner will be in agreement to what a beautiful home looks like, or what contentment is, or what happiness is, or what emotional fulfillment is, or for example, only when I have a partner can I truly experience emotional fulfillment. When I'm single, I cannot be emotionally fulfilled. How can I have a complete home within myself? That's not possible. Those are the kind of thoughts that your shadow self keeps you in. And you're clinging to these thoughts, which is why you've clicked the crumbling. But you've always known that I'm ready. I'm ready for the next adventure. I'm always ready for the home. I am home in myself. Am I able to give you the distortion between your inner child and your shadow self? Right? The inner child is very decisive. The shadow self is always putting fingers, blaming others, staying in confusion. Yes? Because that way Nobody can blame you for your life, but I'm sorry, whether others blame you or not, I'm sure you know this. It's your life. Whatever is happening or will happen, everybody will say it was you. Yes, I'm going to move towards your ego self now. If so far this reading has sounded like I described you, your inner child, and these are deep secrets within ourselves, right? Some of these things your friends, your dearest ones may not be aware that this is you, but you would know this. This is your inner child. This is your shadow self, and your inner child and your shadow self does reflect itself out in different ways to other people. Okay, when they interact with your ego self, which we're going to get into now, people can see the reflections of your shadow self, right? Let's move towards pile one's higher self, ego self. What does pile one think themselves to be, in other words? Okay, how do you see yourself? What do you think about you, or who do you think you are? So what is your ego self? You've understood what your shadow and your inner child is. Let's move towards your ego self. I hope you've hit the like button so far if this reading has sounded like you. Okay, pile one, thank you, Spirit. Your ego self. Okay, too many cards. We have the Six of Swords, by the way, which again showed up. We have the King of Wands. We have the Three of Cups. I like it. Some parts of you are coming into integration with your ego and, with your shadow and your inner child. Remember, this card was there in your inner child. Six of Swords. You still move on quick, which is a wonderful thing. Oops, too many cards. Ego self, thank you. What does pile one's ego self think about themselves? Thank you. Okay. We have Seven of Swords and love this. Love this. Okay. And we'll bring out your cards for your underlying energies. The Ten of Swords for your ego self. Last but not the least, your higher self. What is your potential? Where are you heading for? What are you heading for? Okay. What's your higher self like? Pile number one, higher self. Thank you, Spirit. Pile number one's higher self. Okay. Four of Wands is the underlying energy. We have Six of Wands, my card of PTSD. Okay. We have Page of Wands. Look at the amount of fire energy in this card. Okay. You guys may have very strong Aries, Leo, Sagittarius in your placement, and Gemini. Okay, Gemini and Aries has something to do as a theme for this reading. So yeah, check which house, which planets fall in Aries and Gemini, pile number ones. And the Ace of Swords is back again from your inner child. Guys, do you see? Okay, so first things first, because tarot is supposed to be an experience for you. Do you see the repeat cards that have shown up from your inner child deck? Yeah, your ego and your higher self, both sides have one card each that talk about it. The Ace of Swords was a part of your inner child. The Six of Swords was a part of your inner child, and they've shown up in your higher self and your ego self reading. Okay, let's talk about what do you think you are, or how you show up, or how you think you're showing up in other people's life. Some of it could be true, some of it of course could be distortion. You're fun, right? You are a fun personality. You like to go out, you like to eat food. Others also realize this about you. Okay, I'll tell you guys wherever I see it's a match between what you think versus what others think about you. Okay, everybody knows this is a person, you know what, let's ask them to go have drinks, wine, food, let's party, let's eat, let's travel. You are the person who is fun, who's all about fun. You can be the center of a party, you can have great time, you can be a great host, you can be a great showmanship quality perhaps exists in you very strongly. You make plans actively, you pursue plans. You're the friend who will call other people and say, hey, let's go do this. You're the lover who will call and say, hey, do you want to go out, watch a movie today? You're an initiator in your people's life. Whether or not you want to be or not, some of you may be very shy as well, yet you somehow land up in a situation which makes you have to, be the person who has to call 3 people, tell them what the plan is, or call the guy or the girl and ask them out for a date. So whether you want it to be or not, situation always puts you in certain ways. And of course, because that comes from your inner child, we had the Emperor there, again a fire energy, and the King of Wands here with that fire energy, which wants you to take the lead. Your ego self is well aware that you just cannot be a follower, which is a wonderful thing, which is in alignment to your inner child. You know that you want to lead. You know that there is a certain way that you like to work, that you have big plans, you have big goals, you're ambitious, you want more, and you're ready to go out and ask for more. Okay, which is a wonderful quality, by the way. There's clearly a synchronicity between your inner child and your ego self, which means that, there's a certain amount of healing, there's a certain amount of alignment that you live in many days of your life. You also very quickly to move on from things that are not working. You're the person who's perhaps had many affairs in life because you were quick to cut your losses. You've just moved on to the next relationship. You've just moved on to the next thing. You're very quick at cutting your losses and moving on to the next thing. Okay, which of course is a 50-50 case, depends upon scenarios and how many times is a pattern repeating, which will say whether or not that's a good thing or a bad thing. But yeah, you move on. You're not somebody who stays stuck to a narrative. You're not somebody who will keep on replaying the past in their head. They will move on, but sometimes, of course, you still may be, because we did see that in your shadow self, right? Do you move on when you're ready to move on, or do you move on when you've given the other person every possible chance, where you've done every possible thing for the project? Perhaps you were supposed to move on sooner, but you wait for the other person's story to play out. That is your ego self, and others know this about you. Okay, your ego self pretty much is something that others also see you as. Okay, and guess what? Because others see that this moving on is not really happening at your terms and conditions. It is happening because you didn't have the power, or you don't have the power to make those shots in your life, or those decisions in that life. 7 of Swords is that card of lie, deceit, manipulation. Your ego self, whether or not you're aware of this, and I feel many of you are, do let me know in the comment section below which part of the message you resonated with. You are very aware that when you want to, you can lie. You're very aware that you can sell stories and narratives. You're very aware that you're somebody who can also use your pain to, and I'm not saying that you do this, okay? I'm not blaming you that you're doing this all the time. I'm saying that you are aware that you can, that you have the potential, that you can pull it off, okay? So pile 1 is very aware that when it wants to manipulate, when it wants to lie, it can pull it off confidently, like the King of Wands can. But others, and your ego self, is hence living a narrative. You're lying to yourself, others are lying to you, others see your lie, you see others lie. You see that pattern on? Because that Ace of Swords is not in your ego self, it's in your higher self. That Ace of Swords is truth. That Ace of Swords is clarity. You're getting too stuck in games, mind games, power games, struggle games. You are there trying to drive an agenda, trying to push a project to success, which cannot go into success. Hence again, that card of crumbling, right? What are you clinging on to? A relationship that has played its course, but you keep playing that same game. You think it's the other person, but it's actually you. Right? And I'm sorry if it's triggering to some of you, but I mean, that's why we're doing this reading, right? We have to be honest to ourselves. So the lies and the deceits and the agendas that you're playing, that your ego self keeps playing with yourself, with other people playing to you, keeps you in that King of Wands states instead of the Emperor state, right? The Emperor is the be-all. And even though you act like you're moving on, sometimes there's a lie. There's a grudge inside. You're waiting for that one-up. I will come back, I'll wait. The tides will turn. You will come back to me and apologize. Those are the thoughts that your ego self keeps playing at. What would you do with the apology? Have you ever asked yourself? Why do you need an apology? Why do you need a one-up to win? To know that you were right? Do you need the other person's validation of your pain? For you to give your pain healing? Those are the kinds of questions your ego self needs to answer. Yes? Moving on to your higher self. What is the potential? What does your higher self resonate with? Guys, you're winning over all this. Whether or not you realize it, Whether or not this seems hard to you, some of you are thinking, oh my God, yes, that is me, but that's so hard to change. That's who I am. That's not who you are. That's your ego self. That's a part of you. That's not you. Your soul is super powerful. Never, ever, ever limit yourself to say, I cannot be this. I cannot change this. This is me. I just got to live with this. Your soul is tremendously powerful, and your higher self assures you of victory. If you do the shadow work, if you're honest to yourself, you're going to win. You're going to get that recognition that you deserve and you demand. You came with that Emperor card on your inner child reading. You deserve the throne. You deserve that success. And if you're ready to work on your shadow self side, if you're ready to integrate your shadow self, it's not to be shamed, remember. Yes? Integration is important of your shadow to your ego self. Okay? You have your higher self, super creative, super enthusiastic. But your higher self is aware that it's not the king of wands. Your ego self sometimes tends to how do I explain it? It's a personality who's actually toggling between overconfidence and underconfidence. Sometimes you get so optimistic, so excited, so keen that you're not done your due homework. You've not done your due preparation, but you're off to the battleground, ready to fight. Because you're excited, because today you're optimistic, because today you're feeling I can win. The same person the next day could be very, very prepped, but just had self-doubt, didn't show up for the exam itself. Do you know what I'm trying to say here? Because you're allowing your moods to run it, you need to bring that humility. So your higher self is aware that while you may think in your ego self you're the king of the wands, you've reached this level of progress, it's aware it's still a page of wand. It still is dealing with that curiosity that we were talking about in the inner child self. It still knows it has a lot to learn. So why are we clinging to this, this is me, this is who I have to be. King of Wands can have a problem that it tries to create a persona about itself and then keeps getting burdened under that persona that it has created for itself. Or himself. I'm saying himself, it doesn't mean it has to be a man. It's an energy that we're talking about here, right? So is the pressure of what you're trying to show up as in the society keeping you stuck and not allowing your curiosity to thrive? That's a question your higher self wants to ask you. Okay? Your higher self is also very well aware that you have the ability and the potential to attract great soul contracts. Emotionally, romantically, in your professional life, you have the ability to become a good partner to other people. Okay, a solid partner for others. You can keep your terms, you can keep your values instead of keeping on moving on to the next, moving on to the next, moving on to the next. This orangutan pattern. Okay, or staying stuck to the wrong partner, to the wrong karmic contract, to the wrong sign off that we've done. Lovers is choices, guys. Lovers is the ability to make a choice, that decision. That contract, that sign off is you choose it. And choose it with honesty. I love how it's shown up, 7 of Swords and the Ace of Swords right under each other. What is the deceit? Your higher self is ready to show you the truth. Your higher self shows you the truth. Meditation, chakra work, grounding, shadow work. These things will tell you what your truth is. Because it's not like your intuitive self is not telling you your truth. It always is shedding light. It is always telling you what choices you have. It's always telling you go explore more. You're not done yet. Don't hold yourself back. Because you're under that pressure of, I got to live up to this persona or this image that I've created about myself. I'm a vegetarian. I'm this. I am a leftist. Those labels that we give to ourselves, and then we are crumbled under the labels pressure itself, that we can't explore the other side of the world. That we can't give ourselves the permission to say, I want to learn more. I want to explore more. I don't know yet. It's okay to say I don't know. Pile once. In any situation, your ego will not fail you. You're not going to show up as smaller. These are some messages I feel pile ones need to hear. You're not going to be seen as small or irrelevant or less valued just because you didn't have an immediate answer to give then and there. Just because you didn't have all the knowledge. Instead, be curious, be excited. I'm going to wrap up this wonderful reading for you guys. I hope it has shed some light as to different aspects of you. Your inner self, your higher self, your shadow self. The idea was to give you a holistic view what your potential is, what is holding you back, what are you showing up as in other people's life, and what your higher self is telling you you have the ability to do. I'm going to give you some self-care cards to wrap up and see how can you do more alignment work, paths work. You know, these are different ways. I've talked about these in my lives. And wow, massage, that's the first card out. Some ways of releasing stress. I can see that burden here. Okay, the number 7, the age 34 could be some relevant age for you. Okay, how do we take care of ourselves? How do we come into alignment for pile 1? Sync with the moon, 51 could be another age, the age 6. Moon phases, this person, you know, this also brings me back to remind, I think I covered that part. Moodiness, very moody. Okay, a part of you which does not need to be shamed again, just needs to be, it should not be controlling your life. You don't have to shame it. You don't have to do away with it. You have to be in awareness and bring your mind to that strength. Okay. Rest, 43 is another important age. Some of you could be in nanograms 3, 8, once, if you know what an anagram personality is. Okay, very competitive, pile 1s, and there's nothing wrong with it. Do you see the mirror numbers here, 34 and 43? Clearly these 2 dates are important for you in your life. These years will play a critical role in shaping your personality, in making you who you are. I hope you've resonated, enjoyed, loved listening to your personality traits in different aspects, in different spectrums. If you did, please hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and don't forget to leave me a little sword, because truth is what will set you free. Leave me that comment below. Truth will set me free, pile 1s. If you've reached this part of this reading, it tells me that you've listened to the entire reading, gives us engagement, tells others who have picked the same pile as you. Truth will set you free. Take care. Bye-bye. Hello and welcome my beautiful pile number 2s. If you've skipped the introduction, there's an Instagram page where I'm running a giveaway contest. You can win prizes up to $100 worth. Go find my Instagram page in the description box below, or simply type Taropal on Instagram and you'll find me. Join us there. There's daily tarot content posted there. If you haven't hit that subscribe button yet, click on it now. Let's look at, first of all, your inner child as well as your shadow self, okay? To understand what you are like or who you truly are. My pile 2s, you've picked Rhodonite, a wonderful heart chakra stone, a stone that gives healing to relationships with self and others. It brings in harmony. It brings in a sense of understanding of other person's view. Okay, we will include your inner temple card, of course, in the reading as well. Let's look at, and this is a long reading, so grab a cup of coffee and get seated. Okay, inner child of pile number 2. Inner child of pile number 2. Thank you, Spirit. Inner child of pile number 2. Okay, I think we have 4 cards. Let's see. 3 of Pentacles. 6 of Cups. It's so cute, the cards that you're getting, and the number 2 that you've picked, the pile 2nd as in. We'll talk about it in a minute. Hanged Man. Okay. Knight of Pentacles. Okay, I can see this child already very clearly. Very clear visions of this child. The underlying energy for them is 3 of Swords. Okay, now I'm going to move towards your shadow self. Okay, what is the shadow self of pile number 2 like? Your shadow self. Thank you. Pile number 2's shadow self. Okay, we have Ace of Wands. We have the 3 of Swords. See, this one came up as your underlying energy for your inner child. It's there in the shadow self. We'll talk about this. Pile 2's. Okay, shadow self for pile number 2. Thank you, Spirit. Shadow self for pile number 2. Sorry, too much background noise. Had to stop the video. Okay, your 3rd card out is the Wheel of Fortune. And your fourth card is, there we go, the Emperor as the shadow. Okay. Interesting personality. Pile number 2. Who are you? First, let's talk about the inner child. You love. Okay, that's the first thing I want to tell pile number 2s. You just want love. You want to be loved. You want to be cherished. You want to be taken care of. You want to be pampered. You just want to stay a baby for the rest of your life. That's okay. Very strong Cancer energy here. Very strong water sign energy. Pisces, Scorpio. Very strong earth energy. Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn. Okay, and a little bit of an Aries. If I didn't say your zodiac sign, does not mean this reading is not for you. But there is an inner need of this child. This child came in with a desire for playfulness. It just wanted to come in, have fun, play games, have a good time, make great relationships, understand spirituality, understand soul, go slow and steady, did not want a lot of changes. A wonderful team player, wants to make a large team, build a team, contribute towards a team. Yeah, your inner child was always good at group activities, group games, very strongly linked to your ancestral home, perhaps very close to your parents at a certain age, very attached to your parents. Okay, I don't want to say close, attached. Okay, one of your parents has played a significant role in shaping your ideologies about life. Okay, but this inner child always felt controlled, stuck. Nothing's in my control. Other people control what my life is like. My parents have always had a bigger say about what my life is like. Yes, your inner child's basic need has always been security, safety. Okay, collaboration. You as a child perhaps did not want to do anything alone. Scared of the dark, perhaps, some of you at a young age. Or scared of horror movies, or scared of, just a child who wants to be around good people, happy times, happy memories, very sensitive. Perhaps you used to cry a lot as a kid, or used to cry at small things as a kid. Okay, you're very close to animals and nature, very empathetic. That's the inner child's personality. Okay, shadow self is very interesting for you guys. Okay, while you've always loved to be in group activities, and please remember, while I'm saying inner child and shadow self, these are things which are about you right here, right now, right? It's not like this used to be and it's not. We're talking about spirit telling us what your inner child is like versus what your shadow self is like right now. You're very passionate. You have creative ideas. So while you want a group of people to work with you, you don't want to do anything alone. You want those group of people to only go by your way. You have a massive control freak problem as a shadow self. You're very scared that if I allow other people to do things their way, they will forget me. They will not include me. They will betray me. They will not take care of me. My needs will not be met. I will be forgetted. I'm very forgettable. This personality has a shadow side of it, which kind of has this fear that other people don't notice you. You're not very beautiful. I'm not very handsome. I'm not very rich. Nobody cares. Those are the kind of thoughts that your mind comes up with. Those are the kind of intrusive thoughts that pile 2s deal with. I'm easy to replace in other people's life. Those kind of fears haunt you as your shadow self, which is why you're so desperate to control the outcome, to know every step of the way. Those kind of people who, when they go on a trip, they want to know what time are they going to leave, where are they going to sit, which seat are they going to get, how are they going to land, every minute detail. Okay, I love how Hanged Man is right above the Wheel of Fortune. Wheel of Fortune is letting go and letting the universe step in. And your shadow self gets so frustrated with this. Why can't I decide the timing of things I want in my life? Why do I have to surrender to this higher self, to powers beyond myself, which will decide or derive or have an influence towards where my life is going? Okay, and you believe that all the pain, all the fears, all the sorrows that you've ever lived is because others didn't give you control. Had you been in control, had you had the ability to drive their minds or make them do exactly what you want them to do, everybody would be happy. Okay, and I'm like, okay, some of these things will sound funny to some of you, some of these things may be triggering to some of you, depends upon where you are in your healing journey, guys. But it's your shadow self, right? It sometimes protects you, but it sometimes is the challenging part, which is why it is told that you're supposed to embrace it, acknowledge it, be aware of it, and then judiciously act upon it, right? You've perhaps been let down a lot by past lovers, childhood friends, betrayals from friendships. Okay, betrayals from those of you who you thought, perhaps even a sibling, okay, is something that you've experienced. People whom you've given your heart very playfully to, very easily to. You're a very vulnerable personality. You've perhaps been stabbed. And yet, because again, this personality struggles with change. You do not like change. Pile 2s here watching this would do anything but to keep their life in control. Okay, I want to know what is going to happen on 19th December 2053. If I possibly can get a book that tells me every hour of the day what is the next step that is going to happen, Pile 2s will think or assume that they will find their absolute peace. Trust me, you won't, but that's what your personality is telling me. Okay, you go from extremes of procrastination to extremes of mad productivity because of that challenge. Sometimes you go like, you know what, let it be, nothing really is in my hands, nobody really cares, why should I care? And then you go procrastinate, then you go in escapism, then you go drink a lot, you party a lot, you eat junk food, you stop taking care of your body because you're like, what does it matter? I'm never finding the love of my life, he's never shown up, why should I be beautiful? I'm just giving a random example here, okay? Who cares? Why am I doing all this? Then suddenly the other day the person will be like, I am going to fix my life. I am in control. I will get this person. I want this person. I want this person. I'm going to chase them to the end of the moon. Do you see that to and fro that happens? Happens to all of us. Please don't shame yourself. Okay. But that's the personality that I'm tapping into. Okay. Food and diet is your biggest thing since a child. You've been perhaps very sensitive to certain kind of foods. You get very easily angry, hangry, triggered if you're not getting food. Food plays an important role for pile number 2s. Okay, whether it's good food, bad food, junk food, healthy food, depending upon, because you've picked the inner temple, right? Your body is your first place, your temple. If you eat well, if you eat on time, if your day is on a routine, again that control freak is under control, the day goes well for you. If you've not done your basics right, down the drain is the day. Okay, groundedness, humility are your lessons, pile 2. Surrender is your lesson, pile 2, of this lifetime. Okay. Every time you will be able to take your attention away from how does this place me in a situation to what does this mean for the community, the higher good, the organization, my relationship, you will succeed. The more you focus on, does this make me important? Does this help this other person love me more? You're somebody who's almost like a drug seller for, I'll sell you drugs if you love me more. You understand that? That's a lack of value proposition. That's that value proposition problem happening with pile 2s. You're so focused on, I will create great experiences for my daughter because then she will love me a lot, then she will thank me, then she will value me, and then I will feel like I have been kind and sweet and nice. The action is not the problem. The motivator behind it is. Right? Do things out of love. And this inner child is a very strong spiritual power. It can collaborate with others and create cutting edge, phenomenal work. It has to just stop focusing on what it means for them, how it puts them in other people's life. Okay? Don't give away your power by trying to get validation through other people's lenses of how they are seeing you. How appreciated are you? Give yourself that love and affection and move on. Okay, we're going to get towards your ego self. What do you show up as for yourself and for other people? Okay, what do you show up as your ego self. Let's move towards that part of the reading now. So we're going to use the Light Seers deck. Ego self for pile number 2s. What is their ego self like? How you show up for yourself, how you think you are. And sometimes this also, of course, is seen by how others see you. And then we'll move towards your higher self, which is your potential, your true potential, okay? By integrating your shadow self to yourself, by embracing your shadow self and healing your inner child, you can thereby get into alignment by listening to your higher self. One more card, Spirit, for ego self for pile 2s, okay? So, your underlying energy of the ego self is the Page of Wands. You know, this is a very channel-specific message. Sometimes you don't trust people. It's not because they are not trustworthy. It's because you are not sure, what if my heart changes? You know, take that message if that resonates for you. You're often not sure about your reliability, so you're questioning the reliability of others. It's an inward projection that's happening for you guys. The Tower is your first card out with your ego self. Page of Cups. We are daydreamers, yeah? Pile 2s are dreaming all the time. We daydream. Queen of Wands, the strength. Love this. We dream and we love. You're the kind of people who fall in love very easily, very quickly. Tell me if that was true. Leave me a yellow heart in the comment section below if you resonate with the fact that you're one of those people who falls in love quick and easy. Okay. We will take out your cards for your higher self before I start telling you what your ego self sees you to be. We have the Tower, which is Scorpio. We have Queen of Wands, which is the the fire signs, which is Leo, Sagittarius, and Aries, with a stronger influence on Leo, with the Strength card showing up for you. So Leo could be, for some of you, it could be your South Node, by the way, because we did have that Cancer Leo energy in your, you know, that playful energy, that childlike energy. Some of you could have strong Cancer or Leo placements. Okay, we also have the Page of Cups here, of course, which is water signs. So, the higher self of pile number 2s. The higher self of pile 2s. Thank you. Higher self of pile 2s. Thank you. Higher self of pile 2s. Thank you. Hierophant, wonderful. And it's funny you've picked the Inner Temple as the main card. Yeah. We have Two of Cups, lovely. Love is what, if you remember what I told you guys as the first message about yourself, you love love. And look at your higher self. It's the epitome card of love that has shown up. Okay. Difficult soul lessons for pile 2. I'm never going to sugarcoat things. But if you are able to master them, you're going to also have one of the best lives none of us probably will even get close to. Queen of Pentacles. King of Wands under the Queen of Wands. Oh my God, guys. Look at that. I want you to leave a fire emoji if you're in this part of this reading when we just reveal this. You got the Queen and the King of Wands under your ego and your higher self. I mean, come on. We have the 10 of Pentacles. I mean, guys, can you see this, pile 2s? Look at your higher self. Look at this. Just wow. Wow. And by the way, this is one of my favorite pairings, the Queen of Pentacles and the King of Wands. Wow. Okay. Powerful messages from your ego and your higher self. Okay. First, let's talk about your ego self. What is it that you think you are, or who you think you are, and how you're showing up in other people's life, okay, before we get towards your potential and your higher self and, you know, parts of you which are coming into integration. A part of you has a narrative, and it's neither true nor false, okay, because it's true for all of us and it's false for all of us. It depends upon the relativity with which we are looking at it. That narrative goes like this about your own story. I've had a very difficult childhood. Things have never been easy for me. People don't always understand my dreams. I've always asked for such simple things, yet universe makes me work so hard for it. Every time I have trusted someone, they have betrayed me. I don't know why I just can't find love. Does that sound like you? There's a part of you which says all these things. And yet I am so strong. I've always forgiven people. I've still shown up for people. I've still loved others. I still give people chances. I've never stopped believing in myself. I've never stopped trying to be the bigger person. Is that also sounding like you? Hit that like button if I just said what your inner soul says to you, okay? Okay. Because yes, both of them are true. You're a very strong person. There's no denial about it. Your ego self is not fooling you, and others can see it about you as well. You're a very strong person. You've lived experiences many people cannot sustain life under. You're giving. You like to make other people shine. You're not somebody who's insecure, about sharing the limelight. You'll allow somebody else to shine with you, which is a beautiful trait about you. As much as you, when we saw in the shadow self, that you want to put, to ask yourself every time you're doing something, what is it? And look at this. Your ego self underlying message was the Page of Wands. You want to be like the Queen of Wands. You see, she's very self-secure. She's very confident. When she gives a compliment to somebody, or when somebody else receives a compliment around this person, they don't start questioning, oh, what about me? What does this other person think about me? Why don't they compliment me? No, you're very much at ease. Your ego self is always at ease with others getting some limelight, some success. Okay? You also are somebody, whether you want to or you don't, your creative ideas always get you in the limelight. Others see you as a very creative person. They are aware that you have, again, that childlike energy showing up. Page of Cups. Very playful. Simple. Wears their heart on their sleeve. Daydreams about love. You're the kind of person who goes out on one date and says, I've met the love of my life, I'm marrying them. Okay? You have that innocence in you. And your ego self does carry that. Again, very strong Cancer and Leo energies coming in for pile 2s. You could be going through a specific transit as well under it. It is, again, does not have to be your sun, moon or rising sign that we're talking about here. You've had some things that have broken down your ego recently as well. Okay? And by recently, I'm meaning past 5 years. You've lived certain experiences which has shaken you up from this bubblegum dunya, as I like to call it in Hindi, okay, which is a world of illusion. Your ego has had at least one, if not more, dark night of the soul awakening, and which is why your last card is Strength. You used to be perhaps more entitled as a person, but life has humbled you. Life has shown you that nobody owes you anything. You got to work for it. You got to put in your hard work. Everybody has it difficult. I think you've already learned some parts of these lessons for my pile 2s. Okay? Moving over to your higher self. Oh my God, are you here to create love, abundance for yourself and for others? This is a personality which will earn a lot of money if it is just focusing on more practical things. Somewhere pile 2's challenge is you're always more focused on relationships than on success, career, practicality, self-growth, spirituality. It's all about love. It's all about other people. It's all about friends, family, home, lover. You getting it? It's always about people. And the moment you move your focus away from these people to yourself, King of Wands, self, Queen of Wands, self, self-image, self-beauty, workout, health, diet, education, wealth, finances. The more you think about these things, love will come to you. But right now the challenge is your focus is more on, am I loved? Am I seen as pretty? Am I seen as successful? You're more focused on how do the loved ones feel about you rather than how do you feel about yourself. You've picked inner temple. No wonder. Right? You have the ability, pile 2s, to leave behind a solid legacy, especially related to creative fields. Singing, dancing, painting, tarot, anything that is related to the right brain. Okay, you can leave behind a legacy and you'll attract more loyal people if you learn to be more authentic. Pile number 2s, be who you are and expect people to love you or dislike you and be okay with it. Pile 2s need to read the book, Have the Courage to be Disliked. I'm giving you a book recommendation, read it. Okay, you would benefit tremendously from it and lean in. Those are the 2 books if you're readers. Okay, lean in and the other book is Have the Courage to be Disliked. Because your core challenge is you just do not want to reach a place. Any minute, any second, you just want to be the most loved person. People pleasing is your core challenge. Otherwise, there's nothing that stops your abundance, your success, your union with a loved person, having loyal friends with that dog showing up in the 10 of Pentacles. It's more because you're focused on all of this. You're chasing all of this. It's just running away from you. Your focus has to be you. Your focus has to be your power. Your focus has to be your spiritual development. The rest will fall beautifully into place, pile 2s. Okay, I hope you found some resonance and guidance with this reading. I'm going to move towards your self-help cards to help you see how can you come into alignment with this. Some of you will literally, by the time you die, if you can align your shadow self, can build a true ancestral kind of a legacy. Like you make a house and then your children run with it, or you create a business and then 7 generations after that people are still working on that business. That is the kind of potential you have. Okay, your daughter, you will have a daughter in life, will be a more important personality in your life. Okay, she'll be a strong pillar for you. Sound healing, 47 could be an important age for you guys. These are some self-care ways in which you can align yourself. You can work on your shadow self. Work with fairies, look for fairies, go out on a walk, ask them to help you, spend time outdoors. 42, 30, some more relevant ages. Reading, knowledge. Okay, this brings me to a message I was forgetting. Hierophant was your underlying message for the higher self. Through your life experience, you actually also have the potential. Some of you may have been confused between 1 and 2. If you were, 1 may have a message, by the way. You have the potential to be a very strong spiritual leader or an occult leader or a very knowledgeable person in your society in your later years. In your older years. 50 plus. 51, 42, 30, 47. Some relevant age of your life. 42 is when our North Node matures. Okay, every planet has a mature cycle. North Node matures. Your Saturn return ends at 30. I hope this reading has helped you, has given you clarity into different aspects of your personality about who you truly are. If it did, I want you to leave me a little small message that says, I am ready to love myself. Because you love love. How about you love yourself a little bit more? I am ready to love myself. I am ready to love myself. Thank you so much, pile 2s. I wish you guys nothing but success and happiness. Take care. Bye-bye. Hello and welcome, my beloved, last but not the least, pile 3s. Those of you who like to know my pile selection, this is what I have gone with today to understand more about who we truly are right here, right now. We're going to look at your inner child, your shadow self, your ego self, your higher self, and then wrap this up with some self-care messages. If you've skipped the introduction, there's an Instagram channel link in the description box below. There's a timeless readings playlist again in the description box below. 2 things I strongly recommend you to click on and join me on my Instagram giveaway contest running. Again, follow Taropal on both YouTube as well as Instagram. Subscribe to our channel and you'll find the rest of the rules in the Instagram account. If you'd like a personal reading, there's an email address given below. Send me an email and I'll be happy to reach out to you. With that said, we are going to move towards the first part of this reading where we are asking Spirit, what is your inner child like? And all these selves are parts of you which come out and play at different aspects of life, right? So it's about integrating these different aspects, which will give us a 360-degree view as to who you truly are and thereby where your higher self is leading you to, okay? Let us quickly shuffle one more time for pile number 3s. Inner child, thank you. Pile number 3, inner child, thank you. Pile number 3s, inner child, thank you, Spirit. The inner child of pile number 3, thank you, Spirit. Inner child for pile number 3. Okay, this one wants to come out. Inner child for pile number 3. One more card. Okay. We have the Ace of Cups, beautiful, as your underlying energy. Wow, if you heard a loud background sound, that was my dog. He fell off the bed while he was napping. Yes, that just happened. Too deep of a sleep. Death, Scorpio, inner child, beautiful. How is it that I've picked this pile and death shows up? I mean, why am I not surprised? Okay. Sun, wow, that's your inner child pile twos. Sun, one of the best cards to get, by the way, in the inner child space. Okay, Sun. Because Sun is the 5th house, which is all about children and inner child. Pleasure. 8 of Swords, which is your 3rd card out. Pile number 1. And the 4 of Pentacles. Okay. Now we're going to move towards your shadow self. Okay. What is the shadow self of pile number 3? Shadow self. Father troubles. This pile has massive father troubles. Okay. Pile number 3. Shadow self. Thank you, Spirit. What is the shadow self of pile number? Okay, we have the cards that have flipped. We'll take those. And if there's more, we'll keep them aside. One sec. So we have the Tower. We have 5 of Wands. Sorry, 5 of Pentacles. Yep. We have Judgment. Wow. Do you see the number of major arcanas in this? What a personality. Everybody who's picked pile 3s. Oh my God. The Judgment. The Star. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. I am so happy with my pile selection. And I think this one, we'll have one of the best readings today. Okay, let's see. So, let's first cover some zodiac signs I'm seeing. We have the Aquarius with the Star. We have Judgment, which is a very strong card for me for Virgos. The Burning Tower, which for me is the Scorpio. The Death, which is again the Scorpio. Sun, which is Leo. We have Earth signs and the air signs energy present here as well. So Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn, and Aries. Sorry, I don't know why I keep saying Aries. Libra, Gemini, Aquarius. Okay, if I did not say your sign, does not mean that it's not there. It's just these energies are more strongly present. Okay, I am also thirsty, so hold on, let me take a sip of water. Okay, let's talk about the inner child first before we move towards the shadow self. You come with, this is an old soul. Okay, the first card out for you was Death. Death is a very strong card linked with Scorpio and 8th house. Transformation, change. Death is death and rebirth. It is literally the card of rebirth. Okay, and it's amazing how Spirit speaks to us. This is how beautiful and spiritual these readings become. You've picked Limeira. Do you know what Limeira is? It's a place. Okay, and different people have different stories around it, but just simply speaking, it's heaven on earth. It's a place on earth which has resonated with every sentiment in different religions, you know, whatever we call as heaven. It's beautiful, a lot of food, a lot of abundance. That experience on earth. So heaven on earth is Limeira. You've had multiple reincarnations, pile number 3, and you've always known this. Okay, even as a child, you've always known that this is not my first time here. I've been here. I've lived this. You've always had a pull towards past life or a curiosity about past life, about occult, about spirituality, about death. Some of you have had very near-death experiences. Some of you came in as a soul, in a child's body, which was very okay and in spiritual alignment with death, with endings. You've seen a lot of endings and changes and evolution. Very wise soul, a very old soul. Okay? Somebody not scared of transformation. This child has gone through massive transformations within its own belief system. Okay? It likes to break apart things that holds it down. Okay? Very strong intuition, but yet, because of your shadow, and we'll come to that, very held back intuition. You've perhaps not believed in your powers, which is the Sun, vitality, power. The 4 of Pentacles is all about holding yourself back. You've always been the child who would know 5 but would say 3. Because you're very scared of, what if I reveal my power? What if I shed light? Sun is light. What if I shed light on the things that I know? On the mysteries that I know? On the things that I've understood? Will people judge me? Will they? Some of you have really been scared that people will imprison you. You've had very weird fears as a child. What if my parents lock me up in a room? What if people think I'm crazy? What if I'm sent to an asylum someday? Those out of the box ways of creating fears about things that are scaring you, which, the normal children will be scared of ghost or dark, but you're thinking of these crazy situations. What if I get an alien comes in and abducts me? I hope I'm able to paint a picture. All of you won't have the same fears, but fears which are not usually a child's fear. A child doesn't sit and think of, what if aliens come in and take me away? Yeah, you're the kind of a child who's had such worries. Your freedom has been often a challenge for you as a child. Okay, you felt very held back. I can do more. I'm the sun. I can be the source of light, vitality, happiness. But it's held back. It feels stuck. Its intuition is not being given the due power, the due credit. It's not being shed enough light. Okay, and it's been frustrating for you all throughout your childhood. Your inner child is very aware that I am not releasing the full potential of what I know, of who I am. I don't shed light to it. I have a lot of light in me. I have a lot of knowledge in me. I don't like to share it. Very mysterious kid. Even though you've been an extrovert, even though you've been fun to be around, you're not a person who will ever tell people what you're truly thinking. Even till now, your closest ones never know what your actual deep core thought is. You share bits and pieces of it. You never tell them the complete thought. Always holding yourself back when it comes to sharing your true desire, your end goal. The star is wishes fulfilled. It comes right after the tower. And in your reading, look at how beautifully it's filled. The tower has come just before the star. Because of betrayals of the past, because of things not working out in your favor, you've perhaps had some really troubled situations in this lifetime or in past, wherein you had to struggle so hard for basic vitality, for basic health, for basic access to resources, for basic respect, that you just, as a child, even as a child, your inner child does not feel safe in sharing this knowledge with the rest of the world. There's a fear of judgment about your thoughts. Swords are thoughts, right? Judgment is that harsh judgment. You're fearful of others judging your thought process. You're fearful of others judging your belief system. You are fearful of the struggle itself. You've lived the struggle. You think this Limeira creation, even though you feel it's possible, even though you've lived it in some realms, in some aspect, you just do not want to get into that situation wherein you have to struggle again, wherein you have to fight again with others to show them this vision. Star is also that far off vision, that future, right? You're like, I'm done. Your shadow self is like, I am done. These idiots called humans, these idiots called adults, these idiots that I'm surrounded with, I am not going to give them my knowledge, my time, my focus. So what you've done is your shadow self has put itself on a pedestal. You're better than them. They are bad, you're better. And hence now I will judge them. I will not help them. I will keep all this knowledge to myself because they do not deserve the Limeira. You have become, there's a God complex issue here as well with that, right? Who judges? They who feel that they have the right to judge. You've attracted a lot of fame in your life, even though through all of this, because sun is all fame, right? You may or may not have wished for it. You may or may not have wanted for it. But people always come to you and they will notice you and they will want to talk to you and they will want to share your ideas and they'd want to absorb that lights, right? You're somebody because you're mysterious, because you're holding back, yet you have a lot of knowledge, yet you have this enigma personality, you attract people, right? And somewhere there's an irritation about it in you. You're not understanding that this is a gift to have this knowledge. It's become a struggle. It's become a sense of judgment. Hence, the shadow self keeps breaking away things every time something is about to get built. Your shadow self is the self that goes in and breaks through things when it feels that it will now demand vulnerability. This is a challenge of vulnerability. It is holding himself back, the Four of Pentacles. Not listening to the intuition. The intuition knows there's a way out. There's freedom. Nobody is going to hold you back. But you're so scared of losing freedom. So scared of losing freedom that you judge everything around you with that lens. And freedom could mean many things to many people. Right? Freedom of thought, freedom of expression, freedom of money, freedom of, being who you don't want to show the rest of the world what you are. You want to stay in this space because you're scared that if I tell them what I know, if I show them what I can give, if I show them as much love that I hold, if I show them as much access to resources that I have, they will neither respect it and they will snatch it away from me. That is your shadow's fear. Hence, you're always judging others to be not as good as things could be, but you'd also not step in and do anything about it. So the struggle continues. You're fearful of losing money. Maybe some childhood experiences has made you feel like that, but you're very scared that you're going to lose money. That people will steal your money away. Okay? Fear of betrayal is the problem of this shadow. Okay? Too much judgments on self. I should have known better. Why am I not able to get out of this situation? Such harsh judgment for self that there is no opportunity or scope left for this Limeira to be built. You have powerful spiritual warriors here who's picked power 3, but your sun has to shine. You have to forgive people. This inner child's biggest problem is grudge holding. Even as a child, you would hold strong grudges. Not a very, commonly seen things. Children usually don't hold grudges. But you as a child used to remember, this person took my pencil. You may not express it then and there because you always again hold back. But you'll wait for your chance. Release. This life's karma is to forgive. Is to still give. Is to still have hope. Hope is what your shadow self is holding yourself away from. You are not being given the opportunity to hope, and that is really sad. You need to have more faith. Judgment is D-Day, is awakening. Have more faith in your intuition. Have more faith in the higher self. Have more faith in the vision. And then the struggles reduce. And careful of that God complex. There's a distortion between them versus me. They are like this, I am like this. And hence that segregation keeps you in isolation. Okay, we're going to move towards your ego self reading. And I'm sorry if some of these things can be triggering. Take what resonates, leave the rest. The idea is to give you a true view, okay, of who you are. Pile number 4s with these two together. There's nothing that you cannot manifest. There's nothing that you cannot create. It's rebirth and sun. Somebody can have the audacity to break things away from you 20 times and you will still recreate it the 21st time. Your resilience is unbeatable. Your invincibility is guaranteed. Do not allow that emotion of breaking away. That experience of breaking away to make you feel like, damn it. Here it goes again. Why don't you remember that you have the power to recreate as many times? It's like that energy of Shiva. Only when destruction happens, evolution and something better can come into play. So if you knew that you can recreate every time, then why would you keep yourself holding yourself back? Because some things break. Things will break. Let them break. Just know that you have the power to recreate again. Okay? Moving towards your ego self. What do you think you are? Now, of course, some of us do a lot of meditation work, are already doing a lot of shadow work. So we are aware of our inner child and our shadow self. Many of us, though, are pretty much just resonating with our ego self, which is what we think we are and how we show up to other people or what other people see us to be like. Okay, what do they see us to be like? And how we engage with them as our ego self showing up with that mirage that we've created for ourselves. Sometimes the ego self could be very much integrated to our shadow and our inner child. Okay, we have the first card out, Justice with Libra. Okay. Ego self for pile number 3. Ego self for pile number 3. Okay, ego self for pile number 3. October, November, because we had the death there. We have the Fool. Oh wow, I said November and that's Sagittarius. We have 6 of Pentacles. Okay. I think I didn't finish that thought. Sometimes your ego self is very much in sync or in integration to your shadow and your inner child because you have brought that integration in. Sometimes there could be an absolute distortion between this versus that, okay? One last card, your ego self, okay? We have Temperance, very strong Sagittarius energy. Some of you may have your North Node in Sagittarius. Some of you may have your Moon in Sagittarius. Some of you may have your Midheaven in Sagittarius, because Midheaven is also how our reputation is, okay? Let us, and your underlying energy is the Queen of Pentacles. Lovely, lovely, lovely. Whatever is going on inside, at least the outer world is not experiencing the shadow of it, okay? That's for sure. Which is a good thing or not, depends upon, again, which lens are we looking at it. I'm going to move towards your higher self cards first before we start reading these energy out. For this pile, I want you guys to leave me a sun emoji if you've reached this part of this reading already, because oh my god, the power that you hold. Guys, you had the death and the sun come out together. Both of them are humongous power. Scorpio is ruled by Mars and Pluto, okay, and Sun is ruled by the zodiac sign of Leo, which is ruled by Sun, okay. Let's see your higher self, okay. We have the first card out. Pile 3 is higher self, pile 3 is higher self for pile 3, thank you, higher self for pile 3, thank you, okay. We have 4 cards out. And 6 of Wands is the underlying energy. 8 of Wands, beautiful. We'll place the Ace of Wands here. Wheel of Fortune. I think this card has shown up in all 3 readings, in some part of the reading or not. Okay. Then we have 5 of Wands. Brilliant. Okay. I know which all messages are for me already. Okay. All right. What is your ego self like? Which is, what do you think you are like? How true or false it is, we'll talk about it. And how do you show up in other people's life? First card with the Justice out brings balanced and fair. You believe yourself to be very balanced and to be very fair. Now, linking this up to what we were discussing during our inner child and our shadow self discovery, right? That inner child is aware that it has a lot of knowledge. It has a lot of power, right? It has a lot of spiritual knowledge, worldly knowledge, ability to make people shine. Now, when your ego self thinks that this person deserves it, there you do not hold back. So hence you think you're fair. You know, when you judge somebody to be worthy, you will give that person access to all the knowledge that you were holding back for the rest of the world. There you can be very vulnerable. So the ego self believes there is a balance, there is a sense of justice at play. If you deserve it, I will give it to you. Very strong Saturn placements for you guys. This is a pile which is very strongly influenced by planets of Saturn and Jupiter. Look at where these fall in your birth chart. Because you're a teacher. Whether or not you realize it about yourself, you're here to teach others. Wherever you are, whoever you're speaking with, others are learning from you consistently. And you're very aware about it. You're very aware that others learn from you, that others look up to you, that others are inspired by you. These are things that others have told you. Remember, our ego self are also things that people are also repeatedly telling us about us. So our ego self starts believing it, right? It's our conditioning. Others have told you that you're very adventurous. And you are, but not as much as they believe you to be, but you are. Yeah? So there's others' perspective of you is that you're very fair, you're very balanced. You're a very strong lawmaker. In different ways, at your home, you will be the person who will say, this is how this process will run. This is how we will start this event. This is how this event will go. Right? The rules are written by you. The rules are set by you. Justice is that rule. Right? You're not the king. You're the rule maker. That's how your ego self sees it. You're the king maker. You're the law. Okay? So you don't want the throne, but you want to be the lawmaker. Okay? And in this card, in this artwork especially, I love it. You can only be as fair to others as you are fair to yourself. So while it's all great that your ego self gets these positions, if your inner motivations are not true, you will not be fair. Right? So it's very important for you. Some of you may actually even choose professions which are linked to law and, judgments and legalities, because we had the judgment in your shadow, we have justice here. You will clearly be put into situations wherein your decision making affects others. So make sure that your inner self is healed. Your inner self is in alignment. Right? But others see you as fair, balanced. Your ego self sees yourself as fair and balanced. Okay? You give people exactly what at least you think they deserve. Okay? Very good with starting afresh. We talked about this even in your shadow and your inner child self, right? And the Fool card confirms you are not worrying ever if things break, because you know you will start again. Very spiritual. Others see you, that spirituality in you. Amazing conversation skills with the Temperance. It's ruled by Archangel Gabriel. This is also a card of balancing. Look at the amount of balance cards we have. You have the scales here. So you're always playing the role of a balancer. You have the givers and the takes. So traditional riders wait. Six of Pentacles has that scales. Right? Give and take. Okay? Temperance is again balancing different elements. Sun and Moon in his hands. One of the biggest life goals that you believe you've come in here with is to create a balance in the environment, in the world that you live in. Okay? You're always trying to avoid going into extremes, and other people are very well aware about it. That you're not somebody who will ever try to become only one thing. You're always curious about balancing different viewpoints. You bring different viewpoints together and create something of your own. Your new unique view. Sacred geometry is playing out here, right? You're a creator. You can manifest things very easily. And your ego self is very aware about it. If you've thought of it, you'll do it. Sometimes others can also see you as impulsive. That's Sag impulsiveness, right? Decided, done, on it. Before others can react, you can leave people shocked. Oh my God, this is done? Did that person really do that? Okay? Very helpful. You show up for others. You believe yourself to be kind. You're charitable. Six of Pentacles is the card of charity, is the kind of help. Okay? Yet, your ego self has a restriction when it comes to asking for help. Now you get into struggles. Why? Which is not fair on you. But that's your ego self's problem. You feel as if me asking for help, me asking for support, me asking others to give me some sort of a guidance is going to make me look small. That's your ego self problem. You're struggling to reach out to people at times. Which is why your higher self tells you, if you're open to receive help, help can come your way any second. The tables are turning in your favor. Help is always there. Right? You just got to ask for it. Ask for help and you will get help. Okay? If you're struggling with something, you're not able to get to the end of it, ask for help. Your higher self is also very well aware that you can balance these fighting, bickering people. You are a very good politician. You're a very good lawyer. You can bring opposing forces together and create a sense of harmony. It's surprising your ego cards have such positive cards. Okay? Because, I mean, clearly this pile has done some sort of a spiritual work. There's a certain amount of integration which is at play. But be very careful of that God complex. Okay, that's that message I want to repeatedly give this pile. You're going to do great things, guys. But remember, aham is what we call it in Hindi, right? That should never come into you. What does aham mean? Me. A focus on, I did this. I am so powerful. I can help people. I am this inspiring person. I am this wise person. That will be the nemesis of you. That will be the starting of your ending. Why? Because you can always create massive creativity here. Whatever you will touch, this is that pile, whatever you will touch, whichever relationship you go into, whichever people you work for, whichever house you move into, you will create abundance there. Okay? Because your higher Ace of Wands to Wheel of Fortune. Whatever you start, Spirit blesses it. Conversationalist. Do not shy away from having conversations from people if they want to be a good listener. Your gifts are not for you. Your gifts are for the higher good. I want pile 3s to remember this. Your gifts only have any meaning if they can help someone. If they are not helping anybody and they are just your ego massage tools, then those gifts will not, first of all, they are not gifts anymore. Secondly, those gifts will not be, you won't be worthy of these gifts anymore. Right? So they will be taken away from you. Humility, inclusion, forgiveness, these are your lessons, pile 3. And I think you've come a long way, whoever's picked pile 3. You've come a long way when it comes to reactions. This is a pile which will say, I used to react like this 5 years ago. I've come such a long way when it comes to things that don't trigger me anymore. I've become so chilled out about these things. They really don't trouble me anymore. It wasn't easy to come to this journey, but I'm okay now. So if you're on that path, if you're doing any kind of a shadow work, kudos to you. If you're not doing any kind of a spiritual work, please understand the potential that you're wasting. Right? You have the ability to this lifetime transcend to the other reality. But if you stay in this God complex, if you stay in this energy of, oh, I am too good to help others, I will not show up for them. What's in it for me? They will never respect me. They will still be ungrateful bastards. Why should I help them? If you go in that mindset, then neither do, of course, nothing changes for them. Limeira is not built and nothing changes for your life. You stay stuck. Yes, very, very powerful cards for pile 3. As usual, pile 3s are often special people, but don't let this potential be held back. Ask for help, have humility, forgive people. Don't expect others to listen to your advice just because you gave an advice. If they didn't hear, let them have their own journey. Okay, you've been given a gift does not mean that everybody has to follow your word to the T, and otherwise you get frustrated because you feel. Don't get overly attached to the healing of others. Tell them the medicine and then walk away. Okay, a healer's problem, I can so resonate with it. You cannot guarantee that the person will abide by what you just said. You can just tell them what you have to do. Use your hands, the age 53, the age 8. Could be some relevant ones for you. I'm using my hands with tarot. There could be any kind of a craft work which you must be doing. Hands are also service guys. So charity is again a message which comes back for you. Give. You're here to share your knowledge. Your inner child's biggest restriction right now is the fear in which it lives, that if it shares its resources, its love, its heart, somebody will take it away from you. No, it will only grow and multiply. Okay. Hydration, 27. Be still. The number 4. Meditation is super important for you. I've already covered that. I felt that energy. You perhaps been very reactive people, very verbally aggressive people. Guilty as charged, by the way, personally. But yeah, you've come a long way. You've learned to value your words and hold your words and not give your words to people who won't respect you. Hydration could be a major challenge in your life. Again, guilty as charged. Look at the amount of water here. Emotional vulnerability is what you need to work upon. Forgiveness is what you need to work upon. Okay? And being okay, being still. You're not bearing the burden of the entire planet. Okay? Pile 3s. Sometimes you are in such zones that as if you're not the creator. You're a co-creator. There's a difference. Right? Work like a co-creator. Don't start working like the sole creator. Okay, then life will start overwhelming you. Then you will start getting cranky on others. Mindful of hydration levels. The more you drink water, the more the chi is flowing within your body. Okay, funny, for your pile itself, I had to pause the video and drink water. If this has helped you, it's given you clarity, it's given you aspects of yourself which you resonate with, do let me know in the comment section below. I want you guys to leave me a water emoji. Anything that you like in water. Just type water and find the favorite emoji that you like. Tells me that you've reached this part of this reading. Always a joy to read for you. I hope you've chosen to subscribe and become a tarot pal. Hit that notification bell. Share it with your friends. Thank you again. Take care. Bye-bye.